Hello, and welcome to Inside Boxing's Throwdown. I'm Aurelio Martinez, Steven Johnson, and I'll tell you what, in this episode we're going to talk about last week's fight. You know, we actually had some good fights. I don't know if you want to call them exceptional, but we had some good fights which we had a chance to highlight what could possibly be American heavyweights that may make a dent and bring some of that limelight back to American heavyweights. You know, they've been absent for a long time, and I'm talking about first of all Dominic Breazeale.
Mm-hmm.
He fought Fred Kassi,
Mm-hmm.
and then of course we had Deontay Wilder,
Mm-hmm.
and he had a I don't want to say tough fight, Steve. I just want to say he had a tough opponent in front of him in Johan. Okay,
Duhaupas.
so give us. Let's start with the Deontay. Okay, because obviously.
Well, let's start with Breazeale since that.
Go
was
ahead.
the
Go
only
ahead.
card.
Tell us your take on the fight.
Deontay. I'm sorry. Dominic Breazeale, we're very familiar with him. He was an Olympian, 2012 Olympian.
Yeah.
He was part of the All-American Heavyweights with Michael King.
Yep.
That's a little one thing too. Also, when they talk about Dominic Breazeale on the show Aurelio, they never mentioned Michael King in All-American Heavyweights, and that's where Breazeale came from. That was a little disturbing to me because Breazeale was well taken care of by Michael King. I mean, he actually, Dominic Breazeale is married and has a child, and Michael King gave him money to pay all of the expenses, he and his wife and his family, and they don't mention his name. That's a little disturbing to me.
Wow.
Now that he's turned pro and no longer associated with King, but just talking about him himself.
King's no longer with us, right?
No, Michael King passed away.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, but that's even more reason why they should mention him. But hey, it is what it is. But as far as Dominic Breazeale himself, I'm not impressed with him at all. And I think part of the problem is that once again he's one of these guys that he's been given the impression that the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and so he's saying all these things about I'm going to be in the mix for the heavyweight championship and all that. No, he's not. Anybody that watched that fight Saturday night tell you it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. He had a guy that he had 7 inches in height and 11 inches in reach.
Yeah,
who went the distance with him and actually tagged him a couple of times. It wasn't anything that hurt Breazeale, but he just showed that he has so much more. And see, Love, that's the problem that we have with our heavyweights right now that we have that are American. Everyone says they're a work in progress. Okay, if you're a work in progress, then keep your mouth shut and get your work in and build up what you're doing. Breazeale is a long, long way away from making any waves in the heavyweight division.
Well, see that Steve, and I understand talking about the fight. I think Fred Kassi, experienced and very good, determined, comes in to fight, and comes to win. I mean, he proved that when he went in and beat the Mexican Nightmare. What's his name?
I know what you're talking about. Here we go again.
But anyway,
right.
he went in and upset him. He went and upset the Nightmare, and that was a good win for him. And to be honest with you, I saw the fight with Breazeale, and I posted on my Facebook page that Breazeale needed a lot of work.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't think he won the fight.
You don't?
No, I don't think he won the fight. I think he was getting hit too easy by the short guy. Fred was actually making contact and scoring, and he was scoring each and every round. If you remember, the judges' scorecards were just ridiculous.
Absolutely horrible.
Ridiculous. One had Breazeale winning every round, and I had Breazeale losing the fight.
Well,
it's kind of funny, but
it really is. Let me back up just real quick. One of the judges that had it 120-109 is good friend John Westertep. You remember John Westerterp, and I was very disappointed in that. I mean, I don't know. Even one of the few things that I don't listen to him. One of the few things that Sugar Ray Leonard says that's right is he said, "I don't know what fight those judges were watching. I really don't.
No.
I had Breazeale winning, but there was no way it was a shutout. I would have him winning. The margin was 1 or 2 rounds.
See, and I wouldn't complain with that because that makes it. And I saw it as a close fight. Okay,
yeah, I think everybody did. That's why the scores were so shocking.
If I was judge, I wouldn't have gave it to Breazeale. I would have had him losing. So I just think that the guy, when he scores points, you got to give him the points. And I think the biggest problem with the scoring in boxing, and I'm not saying only in the United States, just boxing all over the world, is the promoters pick the judges. They pay the judges. So the officials want to come back. So naturally they're going to favor the promoter.
Yeah.
Okay. And Breazeale has a name, and like you say, so, but to get ridiculous like that, I mean, you're an official, you're a judge because you supposedly know something about boxing. Okay. So don't look like a fool at the end. Okay. I mean, if you want to nudge and support the promoter's game so that he can invite you back and give you another paycheck, well, that's fine. Well, no, it's not fine. But that's what they do. At least don't make it so damn obvious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like you said, we don't have to beat that dead horse anymore because everybody else saw it.
But going to the fight, Fred Kassi, he was very aggressive. He was very mobile. He moved. He counterpunched. He was effectively landing punches. Breazeale had his spots, his spurts. For as tall as he was, he just couldn't keep the little guy off of him and not scoring. So it was that kind of fight. Okay, but
and you know what? And to be honest, the fight was boring.
Okay.
And the reason I say it was boring is because, like you said, Fred Kassi was behind the 8 ball all the way, size wise, length wise. He was behind the 8 ball, and Breazeale could do nothing with him. Kassi, we understand he has experience, but I mean, they were moving almost in slow motion, like they were, were fighting an oatmeal. It was slow like that. Breazeale, he's just got a long way to go, Lil. Let's move on.
Let's get into Deontay Wilder because obviously he is the best shot right now to get an American heavyweight into that scene. Okay.
He's the WBC World Heavyweight Champion, so he's there.
And he also and the way I feel is I saw this fight. I saw a lot of improvement. Okay, I did see a lot of improvement. I saw a lot of confidence, a lot of improvement. I mean, he was in there with Johan.
Duhaupas.
I hope I don't tear up his last name. Duhaupas. Okay, but anyhow, he came to fight. He took some shots. And he just kept coming, and he delivered shots. As a matter of fact, Deontay was getting that hemoglobin on his eye. I was shutting down. So obviously, but it didn't detour Wilder. Wilder was right on it. He was determined. He wasn't going to lose the fight. Okay, so he had a tough guy in front of him.
Johan.
It showed that he has the capability of becoming that American heavyweight, and I, for one, am glad for that. I mean,
we're all looking forward to having an American heavyweight that makes some waves. But my only thing is, first of all, as you know, and all of you know, there's no bigger fan of Deontay Wilder. I was always concerned with why the American public never got behind him, being an Olympian and the whole bit. But now that he's a professional, Lil, I think he's fallen into, once again, that pattern that all these other fighters have. He feels like, I'm this person now that, this pick and choose. He's been ducking. There's no other word for ducking Alexander Povetkin. He's supposed to be the WBC mandatory. And for some reason, that fight just will not happen. I myself, Deontay, like I said, I like Deontay a lot. But I see several fighters that he better stay away from. And it's just a matter of, is this the way things are going to go down the heavyweight division? You're going to duck, and like I said on our last show when we talked about Deontay, he's made it very clear that his plan is just to wait out Klitschko until he retires and hopefully get a shot at him, in his last fight or whatever. And I think that's absolutely ridiculous. When I heard him say that, that's when I said, you know what? Okay, here it is.
Well, here again, Deontay's not. It would be a mistake for him to step in and start fighting the Klitschko's or anyone on that type of level right now, because I think if he plays his cards right, which I think he probably is, and his management and all, because that's the way they work in him. Like you say, he's not fighting the tough fights because, let's face it, he's not ready for it. He will be ready for it. He's getting ready. I saw a lot of improvement, okay? I still saw where he has a habit of not setting on his punches, and all his punches tend to be arm punches, okay? But naturally, it's okay in the heavyweight. It's okay in the heavyweight division because heavyweights are heavyweights, and they hit you with anything, they're going to hurt you.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a lot more crucial in the lighter weights, but in the heavyweights, he can get away from that. But if he ever gets to a point where he's setting on his punches and he's turning that body and gaining the leverage with his punches and stopping the arm punches that he's throwing, I think he's going to mature into a very good heavyweight. But time will tell.
And then see, that's you. I think you hit the nail right on the head when you said he's going to mature into a nice heavyweight. This guy that you're waiting to mature into a nice heavyweight is the WBC World Heavyweight Champion. I have a problem with that. I have a problem with, our whole rating system, our everything
ABC,
is all skewed.
Everyone knows that. You can buy a championship now, and most heavyweights for the past almost a decade.
Yep.
They've all bought their heavyweight because sanctioning bodies, they make their money by their sanctioning fees. Okay,
Yep.
so obviously that's how they do it. So I mean, when you get into them big fights, you can buy a championship. Okay, but the truth is, when you have to get in there with someone that's coming to fight and that's not afraid and that has some talent.
I look forward to seeing Deontay Wilder. I'd like to see him fight Tomas Adamek. I think that would be a good fight for him to prove that, he's in that, like you said.
That would be a good fight. I think Deontay beats Tomas, but that would be a good fight.
That'd be a good fight.
That'd be a good fight.
Okay, that's the end of our first episode. We'll prepare for the second episode where we'll talk about the coming weekend's fights, and then in our last episode we'll talk about some amateur information that just came out that you'll probably be glad to hear.
Okay. Until then, keep them hands up, baby.
Keep them up.